We know who those people are. We've been writing their names down. We've been keeping them. Well, exciting week. Certainly our players are aware of the game, the rivalry, but it really doesn't change in the sense that our preparation, the standard that we'll have to play, still is about what we do. But it's important to be aware of the excitement and the opportunity that awaits our football team. But again, it comes down to the execution. It comes down to the focus, the attention to detail. All the things that we've talked about all year can't change going into this game. But we want to make sure that our players know that you get great opportunities like this at Notre Dame to play on a great stage like this against a rival in USC, against a very, very good football team. I think everybody nationally knows about Sam Darnold and what he can do, Heisman Trophy candidate, great supporting cast, Ronald Jones, Deontay Burnham, very, very capable in many areas. The ability to throw it, they're going to be a challenge as it relates to their passing game, and they're very good at running the football as well. Defensively, Clancy Pendergast is an experienced defensive coordinator. He's done a great job. I mean, I think if you look at their defensive front, it's probably more than anything else been one where they've gotten a lot more disruptions, the ability to pressure the quarterback. Green has done a nice job this year. Fatu is physical at the nose, has been extremely disruptive. And I think my favorite player on the defense is Cameron Smith. He's all over the field. He's smart, great tackler in space, the ability to do a lot of things in coverage, but as well plays well in the box. Back end of the defense is as good as we've seen. I think Marvell Tell is going to be a great guy on Sundays, plays the ball well in the air. Great tackler. I think this is a really good tackling defense in the back end, as good as I've seen in my 8 years in terms of their ability to tackle. Jones, very good corner. He's got, I think, 4 interceptions. So this is a really good football team. I think we knew that, this USC football team after last year coming into this year was going to be a top 10 team, and that's what they are. So excited about the challenge. Our players know what they need to do. They have to play to a high standard. And again, we're aware of the circumstances, but excited about the opportunity. So with that, we'll open up to questions.
Coach, what kind of practices have Brandon Wimbush had since the last time we saw him playing a game, and his health status as you go into USC week?
There are no questions about his health. So I think we can put that to rest in terms of how is he. He's 100%. There are no health issues at all. I think he continues to grow and develop as a quarterback that is, just his 5th start, right? He'll go into his 6th start. So again, developing at the quarterback position. We went back and, as you know, in these bye weeks, you get a chance to reevaluate, self-scout. And he's been really productive in a number of areas for us. Moving the chains, 4th down conversions, 3rd down, big plays. He's done a lot of really good things to get us to where we are today. And yeah, there has to be some improvement in some other areas, but from a productivity standpoint, he's done some really good things, and he's only going to get better.
You reintroduced Kevin Stefferson kind of into the offense a couple games ago, and I know that you felt like he was doing some really good things, but yeah. He's I'm sure has a little bit of rust.
Yeah.
What's your feelings about how he might be able to help this team over the final 6 regular season games?
Yeah, I think you probably saw what we saw was somebody that needed to get reintroduced into the game and get back up to game speed, game conditioning. Even in a sense, it was preseason for him in a lot of ways. He's had a really good off week, and this week you'll see more of him. And as we progress over the next half of this season, our expectations are to see his role increase.
Okay, here comes number 3.
It's been quick, though. It's been quick.
Okay. With special teams, I'm curious how you would evaluate the coverage teams and the return teams to this point.
I think the only area that we need to continue to grow and get better is our coverage teams relative to kickoff coverage. Now, obviously, if you're kicking the ball in the back of the end zone and you're not getting returns, that's the ultimate, coverage. But when the ball comes out of the back of the end zone or the end zone itself, we've struggled, and it's primarily, we've got to kick the ball better, and our coverage has got to be better. So I think the area of kickoff coverage is an area that we need to continue to get better at.
It's still you kicking off?
Yeah, right now it is, yes.
Brian, we've talked a lot about the productivity of your offense in the red zone, but your defense is quietly, you're number 4 in the nation in red zone touchdown percentage. What kind of things have you done on that side of the ball in the red zone to improve that area?
Well, I think, a lot of that is matching, your ability to, play coverage when coverage is needed. And don't short yourself in the box, in run game. I think it's really important to do a great job of matching personnel, and I think we've done that. I think our ability to get personnel in and out of the game to match personnel groupings has really helped us in that area, and to not get short in, for example, in a nickel, being in a nickel when, an extra tight end's in the game or 2 backs are in the game. So I think we've done a really good job of matching personnel there. And first down. We've been really good at first down, which then you become a little bit more predictable. So the leverage has been with us in red zone. Leverage has been with us in down and distance in red zone. Leverage has been with us in personnel matching, and that's gone a long way.
Is that, we talked about philosophical changes in the red zone offense. Is that matching of personnel? Is that a change from what you had done?
Yeah, we weren't matching quite as regularly. We were keeping regular personnel on the field.
Kind of tied to that, but just more of a general question. How would you evaluate the linebacker play up to this point, including the rover position?
Well, I think Drue and Niles have been outstanding players for us. I mean, at a high level. I think our will linebacker has been productive. I think, both Greer and Tavon have played well, and what we've expected. But the higher level of play has been certainly the Mike and the rover position. And quite frankly, they're in a position to be there as well. The will gets, he gets expanded a lot more out of the box. He's a lot more in coverage. So your productive players are going to be that rover position in Mike, and they've proven to be so.
And specifically, what would the Buck and the Mike need to improve on?
Well, I don't know that I said that they need to improve on.
No, I'm not saying that you did.
Yeah, but I would say that both of those have done well. Look, they're stressed in coverage. RPOs are difficult. It's run pass recognition. It's being really good. Look, we're going to get challenged in the passing game. We're going to have to play really well at that position in the passing game.
Brian, I want to expand on Drue Tranquill a little bit. Obviously, when guys have to go through 1 rehab, that's hard enough. I would think
Yeah.
it'd be almost demoralizing when you have to go through 2. But Drue always seemed into it, and it didn't seem to bother him. Could you just talk about his attitude during his recoveries?
Well, you start with the person. His spirit is unbreakable. He just has such an incredible mindset and a positive mindset. Everything that he does is, with a purpose, and it always has a positive spin to everything he does. So he saw it as another opportunity to grow and get better. And look, I mean, yesterday we were in the weight room, speed squatting, and he hit a personal best in speed squatting, and that's a guy with, 2 ACLs. So here's a guy that has just taken what could have been catastrophic and turned them into positives. And that's just his mindset and spirit. That's the kind of kid he is, and that's why he's a captain.
Do you have those speed squat numbers by chance off the top of your head?
Well, I can tell you his personal best and what it was, and it's all relative on how they fire neuromuscularly. It's not pounds, but it was a 16% increase yesterday, which is crazy after 6 games.
Brian, this is the first time since '09 both teams have been ranked when you guys have been going head-to-head. How much does that amp things up, perhaps even more, in a game that's already so intense?
Like I said, I think it's important that our players are aware of the game and the circumstances, because that's why they come here. It's important not to just bury your head in the sand. Be aware of it. Having said that, that has no bearing on our preparation. It has no bearing on what we need to do relative to our habits and our traits. But I think that's why they come to Notre Dame. They want to play in these kinds of games. And, I didn't even know that was the case. So you're telling me something for the first time. And so if I'm hearing it for the first time, I'm sure our players did as well.
Fans are starting to come around to really starting to believe in this team after what happened last year. How critical is this a game in terms of living up to the expectations now of where you have built your program back up to?
Well, I think it's critical to continue to play to the standard of Notre Dame. I mean, that's what we have to play to. There's a standard of play that Notre Dame needs to play to. Look, at the end of the day, we're all going to be judged by wins and losses, and I understand that, and I've said that from day one. But there's a standard of play that we have to live up to. Our players understand that, and that's the most important thing, is a standard of play that we're interested in.
And then what do you think the atmosphere will be like Saturday?
Well, I would think it's going to be a great atmosphere in the stadium. I'm sure our students will be back for it. I saw something that Father Soren put out on Twitter, so I'm sure that is going to get all of our students back. That's a joke, right? Okay. You guys are really tight today. You guys nervous about the big game? Nah. Okay. I'm sure it'll be a great atmosphere.
With no classes this week, does that in any way alter your preparation for this game? Sometimes there might be a temptation to maybe do a little more, or do you go back to reinforcing the fundamentals?
No, it helps us. Anytime that look, I mean, the back-to-back weeks is a positive thing. We got 6 days of not being in contact situation after the North Carolina game. So you get the physical rest, and then you get the mental rest this week, without having to be in the classroom. So it's clearly a benefit, not only in this game, but for the next 5 games after this. Yeah, it gives us an opportunity to do a little bit more film study. It gives us an opportunity to, to do some walkthroughs. So the schedule's altered a little bit in a sense that we can do a little bit more football with them, but we don't overtax them in any way. It's a great opportunity for them to catch up on some sleep and some rest. And the practices are virtually the same as if any other week, so that doesn't change much at all.
I think after the spring game, there may have been some unrealistic expectations on Dalen Hayes, maybe being, a 12 to 15 sack guy this year. He hasn't necessarily put up those numbers, but he's been very effective at impacting the rush. But how about just an every down player? It seems he's behind only Jerry Tillery along the defensive lineman as far as just being out there as a 3-down player. Yeah,
so we measure productive players a little bit differently than you guys. I mean, he's graded out every single play by run, pass, by, effort, by gap integrity and responsibility and doing his job as 1/11th, and he's been really good. Certainly, the more glamorous stats are what you had mentioned, in terms of sacks, but his ability to play fast has impacted the entire defense, because you've got to pay attention to him. And if you're paying attention to him and you're sliding it back over there, there's some other one-on-one matchups. So his impact in our defense has created a trickle down for our entire defensive structure.
And you updated Brandon Wimbush's status.
Yeah.
Can you also give an update on Myron Tagovailoa-Amosa, the 3 running backs, and just if Elijah Taylor is able to play at all the rest of this season?
Yeah, Elijah will not play, from that foot that has not healed to the level that it needs to. But all the ankle guys are good to go. And Myron, no ill effects. He would have been cleared probably last week to play. So rested and healthy going into this game.
Brian, Ronald Jones is averaging over 100 yards a game. What makes him such an effective running back and so difficult for defenses to stop?
Well, I mean, he's got speed, explosiveness, great vision. I've loved Ronald. We recruited him out of high school. He's just a terrific back. He's a featured back. I think he's as good as anybody in the country, and he runs behind an offense that can throw the football, so creates great opportunities and great space. He's a weapon, dangerous player.
You mentioned Clancy as defensive coordinator. What are some of the hallmarks of his defenses?
Multiplicity, he's seen it, done it all, been in the NFL, operates out of a 3-down package, makes it difficult. Each week there's a different flavor, blitz and pressure, so you've got to prepare for a lot of different things and make some adjustments on the sideline, tries to get the quarterback on the ground and rattle the quarterback, does a really good job. 3-down is difficult because you don't see it each and every week, so you got to make some adjustments with some, protections, and, anytime Rector's been matched up on a back a couple of times, and he's got some sacks just because, he's one-on-one with a back. And in that 3-down package, sometimes you fan the wrong way. You got him, matched up on the back. So there's some nuances within his structure that make it difficult.
Such a great and historic rivalry. What are some of the things that stand out to you about this rivalry?
Well, I just think that, the history and tradition of it, the great players that have played in this game across, the decades. I think that that's what stands out, that when people talk about Notre Dame, USC, it resonates. It's got brand power. It sits up there with the great rivalries of college football. And so there's a great sense of anticipation and excitement in playing in a game of this caliber.
3 and out.
Brian, front row.
Football terminology, I like it.
You mentioned, obviously, Brandon's still a young quarterback. How much do you think just the experiences of being under the lights against Georgia and Michigan State will help him kind of just understand the atmosphere on Saturday?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, each step is a building block for him, and being more comfortable and calm in the moment. We've seen that he settles in nicely as the game kind of unfolds. But I think as we kind of, got a chance to kind of sit back a little bit and do a little bit more of the analytics and look at it and dive deeper into what he's done, it doesn't jump out at you on film, but his production numbers are really, really interesting in terms of big plays, with his feet and big chunk throws, conversions in third and fourth down situations. So we just want to keep that confidence level in him and his ability to continue to make those plays. And this will be another step in that maturation process.
How helpful was he, obviously not playing against North Carolina, for Ian, just helping him understand what he was seeing and explaining things to him?
He wasn't very helpful. He wasn't very helpful. He's young. I mean, he lost his helmet and couldn't find it. It was in the locker room. And I mean, he's not there yet where he could be that, mentor. Gummy Van Gorder was awesome. Montgomery Van Gorder was there for him. And he's just trying to figure it out and learn. And he was on the headset and he was trying to communicate, but he's a starter. And, he just was, like I said, just trying to figure it out.
When you were growing up and you watched these series, what are some of the memories you have of Notre Dame and USC?
Great comebacks. Turning the game off at halftime and coming back, and somebody coming back to win the game just seemed to always be tightly contested, and I think also that it caught my attention because there was such a build-up to the game. And growing up in Massachusetts, there wasn't really a local team, that you followed, right? And so it just had such a grasp on you, and it was built up even on the East Coast as the college football game, and that's what I remember about it.
Brian. Getting back to Brandon a little bit, just the ability to watch a game from the sidelines and then have a couple weeks, including this one where he doesn't have class. Is this sort of a training camp reboot for him where he can sort of see the game in a different way and prepare in a little bit different way?
I think you'd have to ask him to get the kind of response or information. I know he wanted to try to play the game. His focus was much more about trying to play the game than learning from what transpired in the game. I think if maybe he's a little further along in his process, that maybe he picks up more from the game. I think there was too much angst and anxiety about wanting to play and trying to get in the game, and him feeling like he was out of place on the sideline. I don't know that he was totally in the right place in terms of mentally trying to learn things and see things as they unfold. Now, maybe I'm missing the boat on it. I didn't sit him down and have this conversation with him, but I'm sure he'll be available to you guys this week. You can have that conversation with him. But it just didn't seem to me like he was in the right place to kind of grasp what was going on.
I don't know if protect is the right word with your safeties and how you run your defense, but could you speak a little bit to how Mike has used them, maybe not ask them to do what they're good at, not ask them to do maybe things that they're not good at, and then also spin that forward to what kind of test Saturday is going to be for that position?
They're going to have to play well on Saturday. There's no protecting anybody in the back end of our defense on Saturday. This is a dynamic group, runs well, runs great routes, runs after the catch. I don't know that the protect would be the right word, but we are definitely, utilizing what we consider their strengths and trying to play to their strengths. At this level, if there's a big weakness, somebody's going to go after it. We're trying to really stay towards what we feel their strengths are. Saturday night, they're going to have to play the ball in the air. They're going to have to tackle in space against a dynamic group. So they'll all be on display.
And you spoke a little bit about injuries earlier, but just coming out of the practices you had last week, you hit a little bit. You stay relatively healthy, and I was curious about Greer Martini in particular, if he's healthy moving forward.
Greer injured his knee in practice, and he's really a day-to-day kind of situation right now.
Brian, you mentioned Darnold up at the top as well. Just what makes him such an effective quarterback?
You know, I don't know where to start. Let's see. Accuracy, quick release, competitiveness. He can make plays after things break down. You know, he just has that knack of making plays when it looks like you've got everything covered. It's just a great arm strength. But I think what probably separates him from the other quarterbacks is just his ability to find that open window in tight spaces with a quick release. I mean, the ball comes out of his hand as well as anybody that I've seen. Anything else? Good. All right. Thank you.